Okay, so if we go to our character, let's continue filling out these properties. So we've got our experience definition, which we're going to leave default for now. Our attack style, which we'll keep to melee. How much gold we start with? Let's start with 1,000 gold. Why not? Starting at world location. We're not going to fill that out yet. Our starting scene is very important. So you do not ever want to have your starting scene as the intro, main menu, or character creation scenes. These are all scenes from the build settings, if you look here. And if you set it to one of these three, you'll never be able to actually play the game because it'll constantly be sending you back to one of the previous screens. So you want it to be set to a scene which is actually playable, like our demo scene, which I'll switch to now. So you can say this is an actual playable scene. So you want to set it to one of these kind of scenes. We'll leave it as demo scene for now. We're going to set up our actual scene properly in a second. Whether or not we have a starting quest, we're going to leave that unticked for now. And then our unarmed attack damage, range, and speed, which we'll leave default as well for now. Actually, we'll bring the attack speed down to 1.2. And our damage up to, let's say, 10. Now we have some other things here, but we're not going to cover those in this video. We'll do like a more in-depth video later on covering all these other features. But for now we can look at our animation type. So we're going to switch up to mechanism. And if you switch to mechanism, we can see we've got this link here to a video explaining how to add mechanism with your character. But we're going to just like go over it in this video briefly, and then if you want more information you can check out that link over there. So we've got our animations here and we can fill out the sounds for them, but we're going to leave that blank for now. We've got our default attack animations, our custom default attack animations for our weapon types, and our visual character customizations, and a bunch more stuff. So let's go to our animations. So the first thing we need to do is we need to change our character's animation style. So if we spawn our prefab back to the scene again and select our model, we see we have this RPG character animation controller. So we're going to delete that. We're going to go to the RPG all-in-one. Sorry, no, we're going to go to our templates folder, and here we have templates for our mechanism controller. So we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to call that RPG mechanism and assign that there. So once we've done that, now we get our RPG all-in-one mechanism layer, which supports all our different things in our game. So the main one we're going to tackle is the movement tree. So we need to fill these out. So what we need to do first, is go back to our character and make sure apply root motion is not ticked. And then we can go here. So minus 0.01 is walking backwards, which we don't have, but we can just add our walk and just make the speed -1. Then we have our normal walking animation, our run animation, and if we have a sprint we can use that, otherwise we can just use our run forward and just make it slightly faster. Okay, so at this point we've now added in some basic movement animations for our character, and we're going to try and test it out now. So if we run the intro scene and make a new character, or if we play the scene where we've already made this character, we are going to run into an error. And the reason for that error is, if we look at our player that spawned in, we can't look at it right now, but if you look at our character model that spawned in, we have this tag player on the character model, whereas we only want the tag player on the actual parent object which represents our character in its entirety. So we actually want to go here and just make sure this is untagged and hit apply. And so when we search for our player by tag player, we're going to make sure we find this main object. And if we now run the game after that change, you'll see that it works fine. So we can try and move around now, and it's not working at the moment, because we didn't update our controller properly. So again, just make sure you assign that RPG mechanism and make sure you apply so it saves our changes, and then it should work fine. So there we go. So now we've got some movement in there. And obviously if you try and jump, those animations aren't going to work because we haven't set them up yet. So let's finish setting up our animations. So essentially all you're really doing here is just filling in the blanks. So we have a jump animation here, which you can set to jump. We have a fall animation, which you can set to fall. Def. We have like a knock back, a knock up. We're gonna just use these get hit animations. We've got combat idle. So I don't know if you have a combat idle here, but we're just gonna put in idle. We're gonna put in our idle animation there. We have a strafing tree, so strafing left and right. So strafe left and strafe right. We have a get hit animation, and there we go. So if we run this now with our new animations, we can run forward. If you're having some issues with the jump animation, just change your exit time, make it a bit smaller, otherwise you might get some weird behavior like that. Just make it a bit smaller. You can land properly. We can strafe left and we can strafe right, and we can walk backwards, etc. So next we need to do our attack animation. So we just go to attack animations here, and as you see, we've got quite a few options. So we're simply just going to use our basic attack animations here for this example. If you want more information on the weapon type system, you can check out the full Mechanim video. But we've got a bunch of animations here, so we've got 4 different animations. So let's first of all just fill these in with some attacks. So we've got some kicks and punches, and we're just going to add all of those in. Do we have a 5th one? We do not, so we're just going to use 4. So we're not going to use anim 4. So now if we go back to our character's definition and scroll down to our default attack animations, we can add in 4 different animations. So 0, 1, 2, and 3, because we're not using 4. And we hit save, and we should now have some attack animations, which we can't show off right now because we don't have an enemy. But let's make an enemy.